Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. Happy deadline day and Merry Christmas for those that celebrated yesterday. We are still feeling in the festive swing of things here. I've got my Roberto Baggio jumper on. Big man, I loved seeing a picture of you yesterday and a meme where you look like a character from James Bond.
Yeah, hello, Johnny. Hello and welcome to all the listeners and viewers. Hope the Christmas went well. I'll come to the point straight away, Johnny. Are you treating yourself to Trent over Christmas?
I am, mate. Trent not only is my Christmas present, but was my Christmas Eve present. I went early on Trent, which means I think I beat a price rise, I think. But he's going to go up again tonight. So if you're buying Trent today, you are guaranteed to see a price rise by tomorrow. He's the only player absolutely locked to go up already. I think he's had around 350,000 transfers in. So only Solanke is more. What about you, big man?
Yeah, I got him in last night as well. I just think with the injuries to the likes of Lascelles, Simicas, Cash in my case, I own Cash. I think all these guys are basically out for a while. So I think Trent's ownership will see a big rise, exponential rise this week. And rightly so as well, simply because his underlying data in recent times is just so good. He's taking a greater share of the corners. The fixtures are all right. They're not exactly great, but with so many funds available through the Haaland sale, he's not exactly. It's a question of whether he's worth the value. With funds almost a non-factor in this game at the moment, I think Trent is perfectly fine to own. And yes, I can see a haul coming in the weeks to come. His numbers are incredible, especially in recent weeks.
When we watched that game against last time out,
Arsenal,
the Arsenal Liverpool game, when he got the 5 points, but
hit the crossbar,
doesn't hit the bar. It's a 6 point. It's probably a 9 point goal because he'll get three, probably end up getting 3 bonus because Trent, even when he concedes and doesn't get an attack in return, he still does well in the BPS. So that would have been a 9 point swing. So straight away you're looking at a 14 pointer, not a 5 pointer. And he could get that against Burnley. And if he doesn't, he could get it the week after. I feel like even against any opposition, as we saw against Arsenal, he still has that ceiling of 14, 15 points because Trent can go big against anyone when he's playing like this. And it's a bit like the end of last season when we all feel like we needed him for that final 5 to 10 games. And we all jumped back on Trent last season because he was playing more centrally. The goal threat is there. He's in that exact same sort of space and form now, which is why we're all moving to him.
Exactly, and I completely agree. There's also the fact that Liverpool could end up doubling in 24 or 25.
Yes.
Brent Kellen thinks that 25 is likely because they've progressed in the EFL Cup. It's likely that they'll make the final. In that case, they'll likely have a blank in 26 and they'll probably double in 25.
I like that. And it's a bit
very
different to the Bournemouth and Luton double, which is harder to predict because these teams don't play a lot of midweek fixtures. They don't play in Europe. Therefore, to reschedule their fixtures, fine. But to reschedule a Liverpool fixture at the end of the season is risky. So the thought from Ben, I think, is they'll go at the nearest opportunity for that blank, and therefore that'll be the week before, which could be really cool.
Exactly. And, a lot of managers are in this scenario where they want to roll a transfer this week to sort of make a contingency plan to bring Haaland back in game week 20, or whether or not to bring Trent. I personally think that you should bring Trent right away because even if that transfer costs you 4 points in the near future, I think Trent will outscore your next best alternative by 4 points over the next 6 weeks. So that transfer is likely to pay off in itself in isolation in the next 6 weeks, irrespective of what you decide to do with Haaland or not.
Yeah, I think you're right there. That was kind of my thinking a few weeks back with Porro. I don't like taking hits, but I was like, I'm improving my team this week, and even if it doesn't pay off, I know long term that will save me a transfer, and that -4 will be saved. And it's a bit like that with Trent. What about for you though? Those that are on Trippier this week, who has a good fixture at home, would you be selling Trippier to Trent this week? Because that does it like a good, sensible long term move now. I just don't know if it's the best one this week.
No, I won't do it. I think, I mean, Newcastle have a better chance for clean sheet this week. I do think that Trent over the next six weeks is definitely better than Trippier, simply because Trippier's next 3 after this week aren't great.
Yeah, they're bad, aren't they? Is that me that's frozen, or is that big man? Hang on, who's frozen here? Who's frozen? Is it me or big man? I think it might be big man. I'm hoping it's big man. I want my internet to be good. It is big man. Guys, hello and welcome, by the way, to everyone in the chat. I am live. Yeah, thanks. Right, clear my throat. Guys, big man will be back in seconds, I expect. But this gives me a good opportunity to say hello to you all. And a good question straight away we've got in the chat. Are you getting Trent this game week? Like, if you're not going to be on Trent this game week, let us know. 42% won't be. Hello to so many in the chat. Heather says big man frozen. Good stuff. FPL Chai says it is big man, confirming that. Good. Because I want my internet to be good this morning, because off the back of this stream this morning, I'm also going to be streaming on my channel. So I need good internet because I'm on what will be a 2-hour stream. And actually, a message for our producer right now. Usually at the end of our show, we stay online and have a little chat. But when we go at 10 o'clock today, Mr. Producer, I am literally going to press X on the StreamYard, not even come and chat. And within hopefully 10 seconds, I reckon I can do, we'll be live on my channel. That's the plan anyway. Big man, you're back. Good stuff.
The internet was acting up a bit. So yeah, I'm back.
It was you, not me. I was just telling everyone that when we go today, I'm not going to be able to do our little debrief as normal, because I'm jumping straight on my channel to hopefully get these guys over to my channel to watch my live, or if they're just joining in, to go back and watch the last hour. So I'm going to be going from one to the other, and I reckon I can do it in 10 seconds, but we'll talk more about that later.
Sure. Let's take the questions this week.
Yeah, we got 3 big ones. So we're going to show Big Man's team, as always. We're going to show mine. We're both pretty locked in, I think.
Let's get done with it early. Let's get done with it early.
Shall we? Yeah, okay. Let's have a look.
Yeah, now that we've sort of given it away, our transfers away. I mean, there's nothing to hide, so why not?
Yeah, cool. We'll come back to these 3 questions as like a final refresh, but no doubt address them. So let's show Big Man's team first and foremost. So here we are. Big man, let's just touch on last week, because on this show, and I was so happy when I saw it happen, because I really want to beat you this year, right? There's a bit of rivalry here, as there should be. When you said you were going to play Saliba over Gabriel, and you had spent so long thinking about it, because the bonus points for Saliba were there and blah, 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 blah. And I was thinking, I hope he does, because I fancy a Gabriel. Like, I was worried Gabriel was going to score because I own him and I benched him. And you always think that when you bench a player. I started Simicast and I benched Gabriel. When I saw Gabriel score the header, I thought, that's fine. I think I actually tweeted, don't worry, anyone that's got Gabriel in their 11 probably isn't your rival, because I just thought everyone was benching him. And then on Twitter, I see really good FPL managers and content creators with Gabriel in their 11, and Big Man was one of them. 10 points you got. Oh, I was sick.
It was the difference between a red and a green arrow. Honestly, it was a big difference. 8-point swing. 8-point swing. And I mean, it was one of those things. It was a suboptimal move. I mean, playing an Arsenal defender away to Anfield isn't the best of transfers. It isn't the best of selections generally, and I can completely get why people played, the likes of Lascelles, the likes of Simicast or Cash over someone like a Gabriel. Even Trent. I mean, all these guys, they, it makes perfect sense to play them over Gabriel. It was just a lucky goal, and I'll take the lucky break and move on. But in my case, I mentioned in the last stream, I looked up all the stats from this season, and Saliba was doing better for the goal threat. He was doing better for bonus. He was doing better for the cards. Every metric you want to see, Saliba was sort of outperforming Gabriel. I had Saliba over Gabriel, for a large part of the week. But then I think it was like 24 hours before the deadline, I just thought to myself that with centre backs, let's just go with the tried and tested big sample size rather than look at the one year of data. And when I looked at the big sample size, Gabriel was smashing Saliba for goal threat over his career. And that's why I just said, okay, if Saliba scores, so be it. But let's just pick the guy who has more goal threat generally over his career. And that was Gabriel. And I got the lucky break, and yeah, the rest is history. It's 11 green arrows for me. Now,
what's your overall rank?
I have
because you must be so close to me. We must be, because I had a red arrow. I went from 155 to 175.
It's 174k. I'm one point ahead of you now. Yeah.
Wow. I'm 1 point. It's close, mate. It's on. Okay, it's on.
The race is on. The race is on. Yeah. So looking at my team, I think the transfer. I had two options in my head. I mean, I could have either rolled and play Porro, but I don't think Porro has a big ceiling this week. I think Brighton will score. In fact, I think they'll score 2 or more, actually. I think that would be a high-scoring game. So I think Porro's ceiling is limited, while he has every chance of getting an assist. It's just an assist, right? I don't see a haul. So I will be benching Porro, and I will be selling cash to Trent. In fact, I've already made this transfer. And rolling was the other alternative, but I just think, as mentioned earlier, that Trent should repay my faith in the next 6 weeks if he stays fit.
Yeah, I like that.
Salah will be my captain. And another swing I'm actually worried about this week, Jani, which you haven't touched on, is the Palmer suspension, right? So that means someone like myself who's held on to Darwin, you have as well.
Yeah.
It's basically a battle of Darwin versus Archer this week, because everyone, let's be honest, everyone has Palmer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the significant majority of people have Palmer. Let me rephrase it. So people either have Darwin coming in for him or Archer coming in for him. So this is a big swing this week. And I really hope that keeping hold of Darwin pays off, because he is expected to start tonight. And if he does, he could do well. Having said that, I mean, Archer at home to Luton is not a bad play at all.
It's a good one for Archer. I mean, it's as good as you'll get for Archer, but he is playing out wide. And you might think, that you lose a bit of goal threat playing out wide. He's playing out on the left under Wilder, but actually he's getting on the ball more and looks way more lively. And he has got a good shot from distance, cutting in from the left. And I think
he played up front against Villa.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
Oh, maybe it was the game before he played out wide then.
He's been playing. You're right. You're right. He was playing out wide before that under Wilder. There were 2 games he played out wide on the left, and then against Archer he went with one off top and he played there. Now I'm not sure whether McBurney comes. I think he'll go with.
McBurney came on as a sub against Villa, did he?
Yes, but I think he'll go with McBurney up top against Luton. That's what I feel like. He'll be more
physical Luton.
Yeah, exactly. So he'll be more attacking. So I think Archer will play wide left today.
That'd be interesting. I like him wide left. I thought he looked good when I saw him wide left. He was cutting in and being able to shoot from distance. We saw a lot of goals in the Championship from that sort of angle where he just does a typical bend to the far post. But surely Darwin, this is his week. What do we think about
Liverpool? Jinx it. Please don't jinx it. I've been hearing it for the past month, and I heard it.
We were worried this would be the game he would be benched in, but because he was benched against Arsenal, we're all fairly confident. I mean, Gakpo might be starting alongside Darwin. It might be both, but 3 in a week for Gakpo starts if he does start against Burnley, and Luis Diaz is injured.
I'm confident of a start, but him starting does not necessarily translate to F-field points, is what I'm saying. While there's every chance that he hauls, and I do believe that he's an excellent pick this week. He has been a very good pick before Fulham at home. He's been an excellent pick before Sheffield United away. He's been a good pick before Crystal Palace away. He's been a good pick before Manchester United at home, and he's returned nothing, right?
One assist.
So let's temper our expectations, and as long as he outscores Archer, I'll take that.
Oh, I want anything. I need
even 1 point.
I'm taking nothing short of double figures. In that fixture, do we expect? All right, we think Darwin will start. I think we all do. That historically, Klopp away to Burnley, he has rotated players, and again, historically, going into the busy fixtures, Klopp has used usually the first couple of weeks of December as one of those games to go, Trent misses a game, Robbo misses a game, Salah misses a game. Fortunately, we saw some of that in various cup competitions because of Liverpool's involvement. So in the Premier League, we haven't really seen those random games where a Salah or a Trent is benched this time round. The schedule is less taxing it's actually been quite taxing on Liverpool more than any other team, but less taxing than previous years. And because of the Europa League and the Carabao Cup, we've seen rest in those games. Is there at all a slither of thinking that a Salah or a Trent could be rested for Burnley? But I don't think there is now. But do you agree with that?
I think there was a chance of it happening had Gakpo not played twice in 5 days, and had Diaz stayed fit. But now that hasn't happened, and Salah has more importantly had his rest. Salah and Trent both actually got their rest in the EFL Cup game against West Ham.
Yeah,
and
nice.
Darwin got his rest against Arsenal, right? So I just don't think these guys will get rotated. I honestly think all these three guys should be safe to start this week. I think one of Diaz or Gakpo will miss out, and I'm not sure who it will be. It probably depends on the extent of Diaz's injury. But yeah, there's a chance Darwin plays wide left. Speaking of Archer playing wide left, do you think Darwin is suits his style of play if he plays wide left?
Best game of the season, arguably, was when he played wide left a week ago. He looked really. It was a 5-0 win. He didn't score. He did, I think, hit the woodwork standard. He got an assist, but he looked great. And it was a front three of Gakpo number 9, which I think will suit Darwin because Gakpo will come short and get on the ball. And then Salah right, Darwin left. Luis Diaz did go off, and he was in tears on the bench. It didn't look like he was in tears because he had a serious injury. He was just in tears because maybe he picked up a knock and he's just emotional that he hasn't played well. Whatever, I don't know. But I think there is a doubt there over Luis Diaz's fitness now. And Gakpo, yeah, it'll be 3 starts in a week, but 1, I think he can manage that. But 2, he hasn't been playing 90. Those 3 starts, I think he's had 75 minutes each time-ish. So I think we'll see Gakpo number 9, Darwin left, just like we did against West Ham.
And maybe Darwin gets the last 20 minutes up top.
Exactly. That'd be great. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. And then if whoever comes on the left. So definitely one to monitor there. And super chat in from Lucas. And by the way, hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you to all of our North American friends joining us as well. I know it's super, super early for you guys or late for you guys. If you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new around here, we've got loads of new people in the chat because we don't usually do deadline streams on Chasing Green Arrows. In fact, this is probably our first one of the season. So we open ourselves up to a new audience today. So hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. And thank you for everyone in the chat asking questions and supporting. We'll try and share as many as we can. We'll do a captaincy poll as well. So we're going to move on to captaincy after this question. So we'll set a poll for Salah, Solanke, Son, and maybe Saka as 4 options and see where you're at. Trent. Oh, maybe Trent instead of Saka. Yeah, I like that. What do you think to this question, big man? Tsimikas and Lascelles. Thank you, Lucas, for the super chat. For Walker and Trent. Walker has pretty much played 90 every game.
Yeah, I mean, I like this transfer. Let's say I assume that he's in a position where he can't play any other playable defender, and Tsimikas and Lascelles are his only playable defenders. And I assume a lot of people find themselves in a similar position. Yeah, as mentioned earlier, I think the Trent move is straightforward. If you're down to 10 men and if you don't have a defender, then essentially buying Walker is just a -2. While I do expect Everton to score, I don't think City keep a clean sheet this week. With City's fixtures improving, I like this move long term. In fact, I think with my own team in 2 to 3 weeks' time, somewhere close to double game week 25, which is likely to happen for Manchester City, I think I will be buying Walker probably around game week 24 or 25. So if you want to bring that transfer forward, I don't mind. But having said that, I still think I prefer Porro over Walker if buying one. So if you don't have Porro, I would buy Porro. I mean, I'll classify the pecking order for defenders. So in my opinion, Trent is top. Then it's Gabriel and Saliba. If you don't have Gabriel Saliba, I would pick them. And then
really? Before Porro? You would go double Arsenal over Porro?
100%. I just love their stats. Their underlying data is excellent. Porro does have the attacking potential, but the next few fixtures aren't exactly amazing for clean sheets. So I'd rank Porro below Gabriel and Saliba, and then I would go to Walker. So I mean, this is pertinent for the question which we're supposed to discuss later, where we're discussing Lascelles and Tsimikas and cash replacements. Yeah, I think Trent is clear. Then Gabriel Saliba. Gabriel probably over Saliba because he's cheaper and he's nailed. Then Saliba, then Porro, then Walker. That's how I would rank them. What about you, Jani?
Similar, but I would have Porro above the Arsenal lads just because of the upside. But I'm with you. I think every team needs an Arsenal defender alongside a Porro. I would prefer, if given the option of Trent plus double Arsenal or Trent plus one Arsenal and Porro, that's what I've got. So I guess that is what I prefer. Single Arsenal plus Porro. There are many that will end up a bit like you, big man, that will have double Arsenal defense plus Porro plus Trent, and each week you will be benching a good asset, and there might be times in which you drop a Gordon against a Liverpool or a Man City and actually play a back four. So
That's
again,
what
it
I'm
does
planning
set
to do.
yourself up nicely. I like that, and I do like that, having that as an option. I don't have Gordon, so it doesn't matter as much for me. I'm okay, and actually I like the fact that by having single Arsenal defense, if I want to sell a Son or a Salah to an Odegaard, I can. I'm not blocked. Those that have double Arsenal defense all have Saka, remember, right? So whilst I like the idea of double Arsenal defense for the clean sheet points, it limits you with the Odegaard ability if you want to move there for Son or Salah. Obviously, loads will go to Bowen, but you might be looking for two mid-priced midfielders, and
there's Foden and Richarlison as well, though. So I don't really. I mean, you've got Foden, yeah, but there's Richarlison as well, who's going to be good value, and I think in Son's absence, he might be on penalties as well. So I think a lot will flock to Richarlison, especially after his goals recently.
They will.
Sort of
you're
picked
right.
up a bit of form. But yeah, Gianni, I do think Odegaard is a good pick, but I still think the value that the Arsenal defense offers is crazy. I just think they're very good to keep over the next 6-7 fixtures. When you look at their fixtures, I mean, they're playing West Ham this week, then it's Fulham, then it's Crystal Palace, then it's Nottingham Forest.
It's great. It's a great run, and their defensive stats are clear, aren't they?
Yeah, that's just ridiculously good. It's like the City of the yesteryears, right, where they just didn't kept the ball and didn't really concede those chances. I mean, Arteta does like control, and we're clearly seeing evidence of that in the statistics that they have to offer. But yes, as far as my plan is concerned, I'm not planning to play Gordon in any of the next 3 weeks after this week.
He'll be injured anyway, mate. He's going to play today and pick up a muscular injury, I guarantee it. Like Eddie Howe's men are dropping like flies.
Don't you dare.
He is flogging them to death. Honestly, there's being so overworked at Newcastle. And I know his hands are tied because of injuries, but sometimes you just got to put a kid in and go, no, Joel Linton needs to come out because he's going to pick up a long-term injury. Oh, and look what happens. He picks up an injury.
Yeah, but who does he play?
Well, you just have to play a kid or two.
Kids?
Like, you've got them. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, just one game. They're losing Premier League football games anyway, so you may as well play a kid and not pick up the injuries.
Thanks to the super chat, Simon Northover. Still holding Haaland to free transfer, no, and don't have TAM. I'm mad to hold Haaland for Prater is getting TA now. I will get Trent. I don't think Haaland will be fit for Game Week 20 with the information we have available. I think he misses Everton. And if I was to guess, I think he'll miss Game Week 20 as well. So I think
you reckon, big man? You do, yeah.
Yes,
just because we haven't seen or heard enough about him being available. He hasn't trained.
What I think is, I think he will be in the squad by Saturday. But again, at that point, I don't think he will be fit enough to be the optimal captaincy choice. And if he's not the optimal captain, then you're not going to rip your team apart to buy him, right?
Sure.
And in that case, what's the point of holding him?
Yeah, and he does. When you look at the fixtures, it's the 27th, so tomorrow. Then it's the 30th, Saturday, when we're saying, yeah, maybe he's in the squad. But if Pep is happy going without his main man for those two games, it's not Game Week 21 isn't until the 13th of January for Man City. And then you go, I'm not risking bringing him back too soon. 13th of Jan, he'll be fine to start against Newcastle. When actually, we might look at Newcastle away and go, we don't have to have him in for 21. If you don't think you need him for 20 because of his injury status, you might actually go, I don't need him till 22 now, because Newcastle away is a tough fixture and you could wait till 22, which is Burnley at home. So we might actually be going without Salah for longer than we think. We might be able to go 3-4 game weeks without him from now even. So I think don't count on him to be starting games, Simon.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, you've got
Gianni,
place. Go Trent.
Gianni, what are you doing with your team? I'm very curious to hear from you about your team and your plans going forward.
Yeah, let's have a look at my team, and we can always come back to yours. So this is my long-term plan. I'll give you my long-term plan. So this is actually my move already in. And Linus, we're going to answer your super chat in just 1 second. So thank you for asking, guys, and I'm appreciating all the super chats this morning. So I've got the Man City player in Foden in place for hopefully a 25. So I think that limits one move. Many will want to go double Man City or maybe even triple. The big dilemma for me is who Haaland comes in for, because when Salah goes to AFCON, Darwin's going to be more desirable. And if Liverpool have a double game week in 25, that's not as straightforward a move as I hoped it would be. Darwin out, Haaland in is the plan. But if Darwin plays well against Burnley, if he shows signs that we're going to get a double game week from Liverpool in a few weeks' time, and with no Salah, Darwin could be a better asset. Is worth monitoring. Jota is likely to be fit very soon. So I don't quite know. The plan was sell Salah, go Salah down to, I can go down to a 6.6. So I'm 0.1, 0.2 short of Richarlison. It'd be Salah down to Brennan Johnson and then Darwin up to Haaland. And then I can improve Lascelles as my fourth defender with the money from Brennan to the 6.6. It gives me, I could go Lascelles to Walker, for example. So that's my loose plan over the next few weeks. I still haven't worked out if I'm selling Son and Salah. If I am, then Son will go to Bowen.
Yeah, I think with your team, I'm in a similar predicament with deciding who to sell out, Darwin and Solanke. I think I'm going to keep Solanke though, simply because, yes, Liverpool are likely to have a double in 25, but Bournemouth have a chance of doubling in 24, 25 as well.
Yeah.
So it's not as if Solanke won't double. And while I appreciate that Bournemouth's fixtures after game week 20 aren't exactly great, I mean, I can see them scoring against Spurs the way I can see them scoring against Liverpool at home. And Solanke isn't a terrible hold for those fixtures. And after that, his fixtures improve once again, where he gets to play Fulham and Nottingham Forest in 23 and 24. So it's a tough one, but Solanke's cheaper as well. And that 0.7 million can go a long way. You just mentioned that, you're priced out of someone like a Richarlison. That 0.7, in a lot of cases, can be the swing between someone like Richarlison and Brennan Johnson. So as of now, I am leaning towards keeping Solanke unless we hear any other information.
I think I'll probably end up doing the same. Darwin would have to put in a huge performance in the next couple of weeks for me to
basically tonight.
Him.
Basically,
yeah.
Tonight,
well, not if we're not buying Haaland in 20. If we're not buying Haaland in 20,
2 weeks.
we then get a couple more weeks to go be tempted by a Darwin. That's almost a problem though, because that's what happens with Darwin. We see the signs and then we go, oh, maybe I can buy him, or maybe I need to keep hold of him. I genuinely don't think I'll buy Haaland back now, unless we think he's going to start versus Sheffield United. I won't buy him back for Newcastle. I'll go an extra week without and go. Darwin has Bournemouth, Solanke has Liverpool, whatever. Maybe I have to bench one of them, but I won't be buying Darwin back to Haaland back till 22.
That's fine, but what is your plan in game week 20?
Well, if I'm buying Haaland, it's Salah out. And if I'm not buying Haaland, it's probably still Salah out. I'm probably end up ditching
No,
Salah.
That's in 21. That's in 21. That's not in
I'll be rolling in 20.
Yeah, you're rolling in 20. You're not looking at Alvarez, right?
And then
You're not looking at Alvarez.
No. Not for me.
I don't
because I've got Foden. That just covers me.
Yeah, but even if you didn't, then let's say in my case, would you go with Alvarez? I'm not sure I will. I don't think I will.
I think the fear of going with Alvarez is you end up selling him for Haaland, right? So it's two transfers on the same spot.
Basically, exactly. It's basically a 4-point hit. And next week I have Darwin at home to Newcastle. I have double Arsenal away to Fulham, which is a perfectly playable fixture. I have Solanke away to Spurs, which is fine as well, honestly. So I don't really see the need to get Alvarez in.
No.
To bench one of these guys. I don't know.
I'm surprised so many are considering that for a 1 week punt, pretty much. For me, Alvarez is a fine pick, but only if you're planning, you want him as a long-term third attacker and you're going to have him for the double game week or whatever. But just monitor the player that will suffer most from starts with De Bruyne back in the team. And De Bruyne will be back starting games mid-January is Alvarez. It's not Foden's safe. Like Foden's played pretty much started every Premier League game this season. He can play left, right, number 10, number 9. We might even see Foden number 9, by the way, against Everton. Alvarez isn't flavour of the month at the moment. He's playing well, sure, but he's only in the team because De Bruyne is not there and because Haaland's not there.
Yeah, I also think that, let's say, with the information we have available right now, if we were to pick the 3 optimal from City, obviously this is a long time away, but I don't think Alvarez makes the cut in the top optimal 3. I think Haaland,
Agreed.
Foden, and Walker will be the ones.
Yeah, they will be. And some might be tempted by De Bruyne by the time the double comes round, and I get that. But we need to see him in action first.
But I think Foden offers similar to De Bruyne for a lot cheaper. So I don't think I'll be going there.
Yeah, true. Linus, thank you for being so patient with your super chat. Bench one of Porro, Colwill, or Archer. I mean, I always say favour the attacker, and it is a good fixture, and Archer is under Wilder useful, and it's a good fixture on paper. So I think I'd start Archer and probably Porro or Colwill. I mean, where would you go there, big man? Which one out of those two would you bench?
It's a tough one for sure. I think I'd play Archer because of the logic you mentioned. Play the attacker with a good fixture this week. I think I would bench Porro. I think I would bench Porro simply because Chelsea have a better chance of keeping a clean sheet than Spurs. And if it's a 6-point return from Colwill, I don't think Porro will get more than 4 or 5 points. So yeah, I just think Colwill makes more sense.
Yeah, it's probably fair. If you're going off bookie odds for clean sheets, Porro does have the highest ceiling, but I hear you. William, Tsimikas to Trippier for free. Yes. Garnacho to Bowen. Oh, you already own Trent. I actually don't know if I'd be buying Trips. I think it's a great fixture this week, but in terms of spreading your funds, knowing you've got Trent, a defensive Trent and Trippier could limit you in attack. Personally, if I was selling Tsimikas and I already own Trent, I'd be looking at a double Arsenal defense combo.
Exactly.
Or Porro if you don't own him. We've mentioned him. And then you could even go down to a Gusto.
I completely agree.
Gusto's 4.1, I think. And
he's sort of going under the radar. And the fixtures are nice.
Yeah. Garnacho to Bowen from -4. I like the move. I don't know if I like it for 4. Yeah.
Not the best week to do it either. I don't think I'll do it this week.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We've got FPL Chai in the house. Big man, he's got a question for you. He doesn't want my opinion, FPL Chai, who's ranked 20th in the world, or 18th. But he wants your take on Mateta or Colwill.
I'm going to suggest Colwill, but watch Mateta wipe out the Chelsea clean sheet after I've said this.
I think he's got Mateta. This must be a benching question.
Yeah, exactly. So I would play Colwill. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chai plays his own game. He's the only FPL manager I know.
Exactly. And why is he asking for my opinion? The guy's he was ranked 8th in the world very recently. I think he's 20th now. So yeah, play your game, man.
He's top of my mini league.
If you ask me, I would go with Colwill.
Good stuff. There we go. Thanks, Chai, for your contributions, as always, in the chat. Guys, thank you for all your questions as well. And thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. I know we're picking up some new subscribers this morning, which is cool. Let's talk captaincy, shall we, big man? Let's go back to your team because I want to ask you about this. You've got options. The chat, we did do a poll. I think it finished about 5 minutes ago where 63% are going Salah, 15% Trent, 13% Solanke, 7% Son. Looking at your team here, big man, are you tempted elsewhere or is it just an easy one this week? Because I am tempted on Solanke, not going to lie.
No, it's an easy one this week. I think next week is going to be the conundrum, the big conundrum, because Son is at home to Bournemouth, Alvarez is at home to Sheffield United, and Salah is at home to Newcastle. So it's going to be a big debate next week, and I'm actually looking forward to it. But this week is fairly straightforward. I think Salah is the optimal choice.
Yeah. Just thinking of overall ranks and stuff. So Chai is fully aware. Big man has finished. Where in the world did you finish? Is your best? It's 8th or 4th or something.
It's 4th. Yeah, it's 4th in 2015.
Amazing. 4th in the world, big man back. That is absolutely huge, man. Love that. Yeah. So I was on Solanke, sort of 50-50 cool. I spoke to 2 people whose opinions I really wanted here, big man. Dean is one because he's a Fulham fan. And obviously Solanke plays Fulham. And Ali Hangarov was another who's a manager that I adore, right? He finished 1 FPL last year. And we've got similar styles. Ali was like, at your rank, don't go Solanke. And rank does matter for this conversation. He was like, I like the Solanke call. If you're at my rank, Ali's at 1.5 million, go Solanke. But at the moment, just don't ruin Christmas and go Salah. And then Dean mentioned, the sort of goals Fulham have been conceding have been long range efforts, a lot. Good goals. Anfield,
which is surprising, which is very surprising because Leno is a very good shot stopper. He doesn't tend to concede. Exactly, doesn't tend to concede those bangers from distance, but it has been happening with Fulham in recent times.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really surprising. And then he was looking at the Solanke goals versus Forest. Well, two amazing headers. And Solanke is a threat in the air. And Bournemouth are a good team for crosses. It's not Tim Ream at centre back. It's Bassey who's good in the air, and then Tosin who is brilliant in the air and about 6'5". And Dean was like, no, they deal really well with crosses, those two. Like if Ream was starting, I'd look at Solanke and go, yeah, you'll beat Ream a lot at headers. But with Tosin and Bassey, I don't see Solanke having huge success aerially, which limits his goal threat. And then obviously you pick up the fact that Salah's on Solanke's on pens, but Bournemouth don't get them. But Salah gets pens, and he gets the extra point for the goal and the clean sheet and blah, blah, blah. I think I'm just going to go Salah. I'm going to play safe. You think that's smart?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the best move to do this week. So we're going to be going into tonight's Boxing Day fixture with Salah captain, Darwin and Trent. Watch Burnley win 1-0.
Do you know what? That was the other reason I liked Solanke, because I own Darwin and I was like, oh, I'm kind of minimizing my risk here by going against Salah, because if he gets points, there's a good chance Darwin's involved in those points. But you should look at FPL and players individually on their own merit and take Darwin out that conversation, I think, is the smarter move. Also, let's not pretend we can't exactly rely on Darwin. We've talked about my plans for next week and the week after. Assuming we don't think Haaland starts versus Sheffield United, or we don't hear much, what are your plans for 20 and 21? I'm thinking it'll be Roll in 20 and 21 will be midfield transfers. Probably Salah and Son out. I'm not sure if I'm holding one or losing both. Have you decided if you're losing both of these guys? Salah and Son.
Let's say if I roll next week, I don't think I'll take a hit in 21 to sell both.
Yeah.
I will make one transfer. I'll sell Salah. I'll probably keep Son in 21. I'll see if I have to sell him in 22, but I think I'll keep Son in 21 because with Trent, with Porro, with double Arsenal, I don't really have to make a transfer.
You got
even Charlie Taylor. Even Charlie Taylor has Luton at home in game week 21. Just by the way.
I like that. Good planning. Well, you've got a good eighth attacker. I think for the teams that have an Archer or a Mabama or a dead spot in midfield, they might look at it and go, I can't afford not to sell Son and Salah. But if you've got a good eighth attacker in place,
you think they'll take a hit?
Probably.
Yeah, maybe. It's a good entry point that week for Bowen. Richarlison has United away, which is fine. I expect Spurs to score 2 goals there. But my plan roughly is to sell Salah for Richarlison and sell Darwin for Haaland. That's what I'm thinking.
You'll beeline for Richarlison before Bowen?
I don't think I can afford Bowen.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends who we're selling.
That settles it, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, interesting. Yusuf, good question. Bench one of Alvarez, Senesi, or Porro. Chai reckons you should go Senesi bench. It's a
I won't bench
you've
Alvarez
got to
for
start
sure.
Alvarez.
You've got to play Alvarez on pens. You have to start him. Senesi or Porro. Stuff that's not easy at all. I would probably bench Senesi, I think.
I think I'd bench Senesi just because Porro could get you a goal. And I know Senesi scored recently, but predicting a centre-back header is more difficult than a Porro open play goal. Are we 15 minutes of deadline questions? Yeah, we'll try and get, definitely. We've actually got 3 big questions that will help a lot of you that we'll address, CH. And then, yeah, we definitely want to get as many of your questions answered. Yusuf, thank you for your super chat there. Ice G makes a comment of entry point with the laugh emoji. Big man, when you weren't listening and Dean and I were streaming the other day, I referenced entry point loads. I kept saying entry point, and I could see Dean was going like, this is a new term Gianni's picked up. And I was like, I've got to come clean. I've been speaking with Big Man Backer, and he definitely says entry point a lot. And I have copied him and also say it. And I know the guys on the wire say entry point a lot as well.
Yeah,
and
they use it a lot.
It's definitely a thing. So it's very funny. And Dean and I were having such a laugh with me taking a mick out of me do it. So no doubt you'll continue to hear me say, buy Gusto this week because it's a great entry point. There we go. There we go. Shall we look at the three big sort of burning questions this week? And then
course,
also
I
we'll
think
go full
we've
screen and answer your questions. Have we? I'm guessing we have, yeah.
I think we've addressed at least two of them. Yeah, this is done. Best replacement, Tsimikas, Lascelles, guys. This is done in detail. The Haaland plan has been discussed as well in detail by both of us. And which one is the third question?
Bench dilemmas. Yeah. I mean, there's some. I've got a bit of a bench dilemma actually, big man. Let's just see my team real quick. I've got Lascelles. Like, let's assume Lascelles is fit because he's not going to come off the bench, right? He's either fit or he's not.
We're not going to hear that before the deadline.
We're not. But I could put him in my 11, right? So do I go Lascelles or Porro? That's a genuine question, which I forgot that we haven't addressed for my team.
I would still go with Porro because there's the off chance that, firstly, I don't think Lascelles starts. I think Botman is fit to play. Yeah. But let's say Botman gets injured and Lascelles comes on, which could happen because Botman is just returning from injury. Then you're basically running the risk of playing a 1-pointer over Porro. So I would just play Porro straight away. I don't think it'll matter that much because Lascelles won't play. I don't think he's fit.
No, for Lascelles to go off in the 35th minute, like that's an injury that keeps you out for a couple of days, you'd think, all weeks. Lascelles has been going down and battling on in games. For him to go off isn't very Lascelles. It's clearly an injury that he can't manage. So yeah, I'd be surprised. I was surprised that on the FPL site it's a 75% likely, and it's hard to classify players under Eddie Howe. It's also hard to classify players when you haven't got the beauty of all the pre-match media and the press conferences that you'd usually have because of Christmas. So we're gambling a little bit, but I would be surprised if Lascelles starts. He's a transfer out waiting to happen now with Botman and Shea, and we always knew that'd be the case. He served us well, but time to move on. Good question. Thank you for the super chat all the way from Qatar. What do you boys think of Walker? We did touch on Walker earlier, didn't we? Like, we ranked him below Porro and the double Arsenal defense, but someone we liked. And don't worry about rotation with Walker. I mean, famous last words, but I think I'm right in saying he's pretty much played 90 every game.
He has, yeah. He has.
Which is rare for Walker. Like, last season was in and out, you know?
But with City, you always get this kind of feeling that, you know, he's probably one bad performance and getting benched or rotated, and you're sweating on team sheets before the deadline every week. But yes, I think if you're picking a City defender right now, I would go with Walker. I have said that he's a good option, especially considering, you know, the likelihood of an upcoming double later. But I would still, you know, rank the Arsenal defense and Porro over him.
Yeah, he's 15% owned, Walker, by like highest of all at Man City.
Yeah,
we have seen some price drops for those that started at 5 million. So Akanji's dropped to 4.9 and Gvardiol 4.8. The problem with both Akanji and Gvardiol is, again, you're sweating on team sheets. With Gvardiol, it's usually him or Aki. Akanji, it's tough. Like, we know Pep loves him, but sometimes it's Diaz or Akanji. Sometimes it's both. He hasn't started the last two, but before that, played 95 times on the trot. Walker literally hasn't missed a minute. Yeah, he has played 9. He's probably, I'm guessing, one of only 3 or 4 in the Premier League to have played 90 every week. Certainly the only man at Man City. So yeah, seems like a safe bet. Feels like he should be a safe bet. But as Big Man says, you never know. I think he's also had the armband, hasn't he, recently at Man City, Big Man?
Walker. Yes, he's been playing as the captain.
Yeah, that definitely helps. Is Kudus leaving for AFCON before game week 20? My knowledge so far of those going to AFCON and Asia Cup, in terms of all the big players that are really needed for their clubs, I'm not aware of any going before 20. I'm thinking even Kudus, I haven't heard as anything to suggest that he won't play 20 and then leave. They're pretty much all getting on a plane as soon as game week 20 finishes. That's my take. And someone like Kudus could only miss a game,
because they're sort of gathering with the national team before 20, right? So that's why this rumor is coming with Kudus, right? With Ghana.
But I think a couple of teams are, and the big names will still be allowed to play for their Premier League clubs, I think. Do remember with AFCON and Asia Cup, if the teams go out in the groups, there is a chance, by the way the Premier League schedule works, they could only miss game week 21. Now, sure, Son and Salah and Kudus, you expect them all to go far into the competition, but you do get upset. So do monitor that. And game week 21 is mid-January, and game week 22 is end of January. So we really don't have much Premier League football in the month of January, which does help for those that maybe think you're going to keep in 21, see how they get on in game 1 or 2 of their competition, and then make the decision in 22 about them.
Johnny, let's open the chat for deadline questions. I think
nice.
let's take questions from the listeners.
Yeah, we got a good 11 minutes.
Or bench Porro. I won't bench Gabriel.
Yeah. Start Morgan Gibbs White or Baldock. Ooh, I still favour the attacking player. Yeah.
Yeah, probably because of penalties as well, likelihood of penalties. Bench Darwin or Chan. Bench Chan. Don't bench Darwin for sure.
Good questions coming. Sorry, I'm multitasking. Trent or Alvarez?
Trent.
Oh, you've got to play Trent.
In my opinion.
I'd find a way of not benching Alvarez, though. Like, there'll probably be other players in your 11 you can bench instead of Alvarez. I would really not want to bench Alvarez this week.
Transfer Gusto or Pinnock for cash? I think Gusto, probably. Cheaper and better fixtures. Gusto or Pinnock? I would go with Gusto.
Lascelles to Trips or Tsimikas to Zinchenko. Zinchenko, again, is one of those players, when all are fit at Arsenal, Tomiyasu, for example, you go, is he a bad performance away from being benched? And at the moment, because of injuries to the likes of, I think, Kivior's injured and Tomiyasu is, Zinchenko's fine, but I'd be reluctant to buy him in FPL. I'd prefer Ben White if you can afford him, or the centre-backs.
Yeah, I prefer the centre-backs, but out of the 2 transfers he has suggested, I don't think Trippier is a buy now, simply because the next 3 block of fixtures after this week are very tough. I would get the Arsenal defender. And Zinchenko, the good thing about him is that he tends to play the easier fixtures, which Arsenal have on paper in the next 4 weeks, because he gives them that control. He creates a bit of a few chances. So I would get Zinchenko for Tsimikas in your position. Heather is asking Douglas Luiz for Kudus, bench Porro, Kudus or Kanate. I'm not sure I would get Douglas Luiz. I think the main reason and the main attraction for picking him was the game week 18 fixture that he had against Sheffield United at home when others were blanking. And I don't think I'd buy him this week. Bench Porro, Kudus, Kanate. I wouldn't bench Kanate. I would probably bench Kudus, I think, because he's playing against a really good defense. I would probably bench
I don't
Kudus,
know.
yeah.
I don't think I could bench Kudus. That's a tough one, Heather.
I would bench Kudus.
I think I'd bench Kanate. But
bench Kanate.
Yeah. Just he's away. Well, Porro's away as well. I wouldn't bench Kudus. He's flying. It's a tough one.
Hello, all the way from South Africa. Should I transfer out Mitoma for a hit? Maybe for Richarlison. Otherwise, I have to charge. Yes, I would make that transfer. I think it should.
He's doubtful, isn't he, as well, Mitoma? He's doubtful.
He's doubtful for
going to Asia Cup anyway.
Yes, he's doubtful for a while, which is why I think it's a good transfer. I can't see Burnley keeping a clean sheet at all against Liverpool. He's probably a 0 or 1 pointer at best. So yeah, I would get Richarlison in your position. Hello, Nippon. Get in Solanke for Isak or -4. Play Isak. Actually, wait for Newcastle team leagues. Wait for Newcastle team leagues, and I do think Isak starts as well. And in case Isak is playing, then there's no reason to sell. I would play him this week.
Callum Wilson cannot start another football match. Like, it's too risky. Those hamstrings will snap.
How many games has he started in a row now? It's 4, right? In 10 days?
Honestly, I think it's 4 and 10.
Yeah, I think he will be benched as well. I think Gordon should be safe, though, this week.
Yeah. Is it worth taking a -4 to take out the Lascelles to play Taylor over him? I'd take the -4 and then keep Taylor benched.
I would as well. Yeah. Darwin out for one. I would keep Darwin this week. I don't think he's a sell. I would definitely keep him.
Yeah. Oh, this one's a harder one to read. I think what we're thinking here is you definitely sell Tsimikas and you buy Trent.
Yeah, he's selling. Yeah, I would buy Trent for Tsimikas as well. Who to start at Dingra Porro? I would play a Dingra just about.
The home player, in a game that's between the two where you can't predict it. They've both got a 50% chance of winning ish. Either benching dilemma. Start Solanke or Watkins.
Surely start both. Surely
There's
start
got to
both.
be
People
another
are
route.
dude, people are captaining Solanke. This guy wants to bench him. Just play Solanke.
Guys.
Play Watkins as well. Find another route.
I know there's benching dilemmas this week. And
What's been going on over Christmas, FF?
Well, it's
People
for
just
those
went
that don't have a
berserk with
Palmer.
hits.
And we're lucky because we also were going to have to bench a very good player this game week, and we've been saved by the Palmer 5th yellow. I was likely probably to benching Saka or Foden. I would rather bench Saka and Foden than Solanke and Watkins.
Next question is start Dubravka or Raya. Oh God, this is tough as well because both of them have equal chance of a clean sheet this week according to the odds.
Raya.
I don't really want to say. I think
who gets the save points? Dubravka.
It's not necessarily about the save points because Raya will probably get some passing
BPS,
bonus points as well. BPS, yeah. I would just lean towards Raya, but it's close. Simply because of the fixture congestion.
High chance of a clean sheet, just because Newcastle have been so
leggy.
Yeah, leggy. And actually, I know they've not been leaking tons of goals, but they have been leaking tons of chances for Newcastle.
Forest weren't bad against Bournemouth.
They were good
before the sending off. Even before the sending off, they were actually very good.
Yeah, and after it, they played an hour with 10 men, and Chris Wood and Elanga combination, little man, big man.
Yeah. Thoughts on selling Salah and Trippier for Bowen and Trent in game 20?
Yeah, in 20. Shame you can't get to Trent this week, though. Knowing you're buying Trent in 20, if you can get to him in 19, you beat a price rise, you get the Burnley fixture. Risk starting Haaland. I mean, I'd start him, but I'd start him because if he does come off the bench, there's a good chance he scores, but I don't think he'll play.
I agree. I don't think it'll matter. He won't start.
A defender under 4.5, you can't go to Gusto or a Newcastle player. Under 4.5 outside of Chelsea.
Very, very few picks. Maybe Branthwaite. Is he fit?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure. If he's fit, then maybe Branthwaite. Because there are not too many defenders in that price. Will Livra start? We think he will, but it's not clear cut.
He missed the
we
last
might
game.
We might hear a Newcastle league before the deadline. But if I was to guess, I think Livramento will be left, Trippier right, Botman and Shearer centre backs.
Yeah, and of course, Dan Burn is even an option at centre back.
Yes, he's a sell after this week, in my opinion. I think I would sell him after this week's fixture. I assume you don't have Trent, so you can get Trent next week.
Oh, we got a super chat from William. Just going to answer William's super chat. And Nkunku an option? If so, would you play over Garnacho? I think Nkunku starts this week, but he won't play 90. He'll play 60. And he's got a good chance of scoring against Palace. I'd play Nkunku for sure. I think I like those getting on Nkunku early. Like, don't expect 90 minutes, but I think he starts. Do you think he'll start, big man?
I think he starts, but he won't get 90. I still think if you're buying a forward this week, Solanke is the one to get. Simply
Some
because
have got
Solanke
and Watkins, though, and actually they're happy to go to an Nkunku as their third striker because they've got a Darwin or they've got a Haaland that they still want to sell.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, I would probably get Alvarez, honestly.
Would you?
Just get him in for this week and Sheffield United next week.
I'm
Who to start, Livramento or Gabriel? I would play Gabriel for sure. Goal threat, defensive chance, clean sheet. Yeah, got to be.
Thanks, Ben. Good
Arsenal
question.
scored the highest number of goals from set plays this season, by the way. I think the goal threat that their defenders offer is vastly underrated.
Yeah, I mean, Gabriel is a version of Van Dijk. Not quite the threat, but they always look for him. Like Liverpool look for Van Dijk.
In a better defense.
In a much better defense, yeah.
Taylor to Trent, already have Trippier, Wood to Alvarez. Taylor to Trent, I think. Yeah, we've discussed this before. I think Trent is more of a priority than Alvarez. It's a similar position with my team. If you go back and watch the video where I've been discussing my team, I think Trent makes more sense than Alvarez this week. One transfer in Mateta or Adebayo.
Adebayo for me.
Neither. But if I was to pick one, yeah, Adebayo. I would probably go with Adebayo because of the fixture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ariola versus Turner. This is interesting, and a lot of managers do have this
Both are
predicament.
starting.
I think
Ariola.
Tricky. Yeah.
Ariola's gonna be worked harder. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, Ariola will be the busier of the two keepers in that game. But I think both concede, so therefore I go for save points.
Yeah, and I think Arsenal, as compared to Newcastle, are more direct. Arsenal tend to have more shots from distance, etc. So I would probably go with Ariola because of the saves. Bench one, Gabriel or Porro Archer. I would bench Porro. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Andy. We'll take last question from Ace Sel Huang. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, probably because he's going to the Asia Cup soon after. So this isn't the ideal fixture to have him for. So yeah, if you are in a position where you can afford to sell him and you have 2 free transfers, then sure, go ahead with it. All right, guys.
Thanks, big man.
Thank you all for joining in.
Yeah.
And make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Jani, I wish you all the best. I hope you get a green arrow, but still end up getting less points than me, as per usual.
Show, mate. We all get green arrows on chasing green arrows. Thanks, big man. We got 3 options right now. If you're just tuning in, you can go back and watch the last hour. Please do that. If you're not just tuning in, come over and watch my channel. I'm going to do an hour of Q&A. This is my channel. And FPL Chai, world number 8 from last week, is going to try and join me. We have no idea if that will work. My first ever deadline stream on my channel. So Jamie Teacher YouTube channel in 30 seconds time. Or number 3, you can go watch another YouTuber. Don't do that. Don't do that. So for now, big man, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys. May your arrows be green. I'll see you in 30 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds on my channel. Catch you later, guys.